click the link below or go straight to mr.locario.com to get the documentary Game Kings, The Definition of Game. Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Mr. Locario, the bad boy of the dating game. What's good? So in this video, I want to do like a breakdown of the Netflix show Sex Life. I finally finished watching it, man. I was like, damn, this show is so fucking good. Every person needs to watch this, especially men. I feel like this show is I feel like it's made for men. You understand, to understand certain things. I feel like it's a thing where the women are like, hey, listen, this is what's really going down. Let's not bullshit ourselves. And of course, it's made for women too, to confirm what they already know. But I think it's really made for men to see, what women are really thinking, how women are really feeling, stuff like that. Because a lot of dudes out here is naive to this game. So I'm gonna break this game down, in this show. You understand? So there's going to be a lot of spoilers in this. So if you haven't watched the show, I suggest you pause this, go watch the whole damn show, and then come back to this. You feel what I'm saying? But if you've already watched the show, or you still just want to hear, the spoilers or whatever I'm going to talk about, just continue listening. But, what I want to do is I want to break down certain parts and certain things that was going on in there, and certain things you can learn about the game by watching the show, because they did a perfect job at this. And it was funny because I was looking at the writers and the producers or whatever it is, and it's women who's writing this and making this happen. You understand? So they're putting this together and they're saying, hey, listen, this is what's going on out here. And look, this is stuff that dudes who have game have been basically teaching you guys and telling you guys, and some guys just don't want to listen. Some guys don't want to adhere to this real stuff. But let's break this down. So basically this show there's a character named Billy, this chick, and she's married to this dude named Cooper, who's like the perfect husband, but she's basically obsessed with her ex-boyfriend named Brad, right? So she has what the typical woman says she wants, the perfect husband. She got, 2 kids or whatever. And the funny part is the husband, Cooper, he has the looks, money, and status, all the things that you guys say you're thinking, you need in order to get the girls, right? He has all that stuff. He has looks, money, and status, good guy, good job, making money, he has that status at his workplace, all this other stuff. But it's still not enough for her. You understand what I'm saying? It's still not enough. She's still thinking back to her ex, Brad, who basically was, giving her a certain type of energy, a certain type of excitement. And the thing is, what's interesting about this is that both the husband, Cooper, and the ex-boyfriend, Brad, they're both basically, these good looking dudes who got money and who got status, right? So to an extent, you could say they're both like equal, on an equal playing field. See, the only difference between them though is how each one of them makes her feel different. You understand what I'm saying? So she feels that sense of security and, that sense of like consistency with her husband, Cooper, but that excitement isn't there with him. But then when it comes to Brad, he's a little bit more inconsistent and kind of all over the place, but she feels that excitement with him. You understand what I'm saying? So Cooper is like the protector, provider guy, and Brad is the more sexually appealing, sexually attractive guy, with the excitement. You see what I'm saying? And so this is what I'm saying, where they set it up so good, because both of those guys are the perfect archetypes for, what's going on out here and how women, deal with dudes. Because I've said this a million times, where women usually get one or the other. And what happens is that they're not able to, get both. You understand? Meaning they're not able to get both aspects in one man, right? They're not able to get the the, protector, provider, good husband guy who's also exciting and sexually attractive in that way. Right. And even in the show, they expressed that. They was like, can you really get the thrills and the excitement with the same person you have that stability and all that other stuff with? You understand what I'm saying? And see, the thing is that she was obsessed with the experience that she was having with Brad, who was more like the bad boy type. That was her ex-boyfriend. Like, he would do a lot of different things and give her that excitement when it came to, him and her being together. So she started to miss that, and she was writing in her journal. You understand what I'm saying? Talking about these things and trying to relive those situations. Right now, when the husband found out that, when Cooper found out that his wife Billy was, thinking about her ex and all this other stuff, right? What this dude Cooper tried to do, her husband, he tried to figure out what was going on so that he can emulate what the ex-boyfriend was doing to get his wife excited. Now, at first, it sort of, seemed like it was working at first. Like, he took her out, they had sex in a pool, somebody's, some random person's like pool, and was doing all this exciting stuff. They fucking outran the cops and a whole bunch of like exciting shit. So she was getting that thrill for that one night. So she was feeling those same sort of feelings that she was feeling with her ex-boyfriend. But understand what happens is that because that's not actually who Cooper was, you understand what I'm saying? It wore off. So he's trying to put on this facade. That's not really the type of guy he is. He's not really, that type of dude, but he's trying to emulate that bad boy that Brad is. You see what I'm saying? And see, what happens is that the reason why the wife Billy is so obsessed with the dude Brad is because at the end of the day, Brad actually, the bad boy guy, her ex, has more game than Cooper. Because remember, they're both looks, money, status guys. They're both, you can say they're both sort of equal on that equal playing field to a certain extent. But see, what happens is that because Brad is more sexually exciting and gives her more of that exciting energy, right? She's constantly thinking about him, talking about him, writing about him, wanting to be with him. Also, another thing you have to understand or notice in the show is that if you notice, her ex-boyfriend Brad, he had a lot of issues because what happened is that I think his dad left him when he was younger, and he had like issues like being close to people and all this other shit, so he would sort of push people away. Now, as you're watching the show, you see in a few scenes where he sort of kind of like he pushes her away. He kicks her out of his house. There's a scene where he's introducing her to his mom or whatever, and then I think the stepdad comes and he doesn't like the stepdad, and then they get into argument, and then he tells her, go home, I don't want to talk to you right now, and all this other stuff. There's a scene where he got her pregnant, and then she had a miscarriage, and then after that, like, he felt a certain type of way and he pushed her away again. So it was all this like, him being there, then not wanting to be there, being there, then pushing her away. And she would always get into this emotional turmoil where she'd be crying and upset and pissed off at him, but then he would come back and she would sort of take him back. She would sort of like, be responsive to him. And see, what you have to understand is this: women, even when it's something negative, right, they still like that energy because it's still not boring. It's still exciting. See, I'm gonna shout out Caleb Jones again. Shout out to Caleb Jones. Make sure you watch his videos. He said, he did a video talking about, women leaving you. He was basically saying that women are going to leave for one or two reasons. Either they're bored or they're frustrated. You understand what I'm saying? And he said either they're when they're bored, it's just like routine. It's like regular, it's whatever. Right. And so essentially this woman, Billy, she's kind of bored in her relationship with her husband, because it's like, yeah, I'm a mom, I got 2 kids, but the excitement's not there. But as far as frustration is concerned, what Caleb Jones is saying is that, women will leave you because they're frustrated because you're that alpha male who's not necessarily going to change. And so then they know they can't change you. So they're just going to leave you and get with some other dude. And which is what the girl Billy did with her ex-boyfriend, Brad. It's like, okay, well, I got to leave and get with somebody who's more stable, which was her husband, Cooper. Right. But see, what happened is that with Brad, because he was so fucking all over the place and, inconsistent and unstable a lot of times and going back and forth with her on that emotional roller coaster, it wasn't boring. Even though it's negative and kind of like fucked up, it's at least it wasn't boring. So women will still stick with a guy because he's spiking those emotions, because it's, she's feeling that feeling and she's going through that roller coaster. So it makes her think about him more. She's at home crying about him. Oh, why did he do that? And blah, blah, blah. And she's crying to her girlfriend. His girlfriend and her get talking about it. So it keeps the guy on her mind and, so forth and so on. And then it keeps her hooked and keeps her attached. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the thing. Now, also what I want to talk about with the husband Cooper is that he was such a straight-laced dude, right? But he was still an attractive guy, right? And in the show, his boss, I forgot the lady's name, but it was this Asian lady who was feeling him, right? And there were scenes where, they would go to the bar after work, and there would be kind of sexual tension between him and her. And there were times where he could have cheated on his wife because the lady his boss basically invited him back to the crib. He said he went back to the crib and, he just slept on the couch because he basically didn't want to cheat. Right. So he slept on the couch at his boss's crib. It was like late at night. He got drunk and that was right after, I think he had gotten into an argument with his wife or whatever. But the Asian lady, his boss, basically told him straight up, like, listen, I see you going through issues with your woman. So I think you need to call that a day and get at me. And she's like, listen, I'm just letting you know I'm an option. Like, if you want me, you can have me, basically what she's saying. You understand? So Cooper was still an attractive guy that women would want, right? But he's just more of the straight-laced type of dude. You understand? The boss even gave the dude her keys to her apartment, keys to her house, and said, hey, listen, if you need a place, a safe haven, if you going through something, just come through. Like, she was all about this motherfucker. You understand what I'm saying? But Cooper, because he's so in love with his wife, right? And he's so like, he's one of these guys where he's very like, till death do us part, you're my wife, I'm gonna love you forever. And the thing about love is this: you can love someone and not be with them. But in his case, is like, I don't want to not be with you. He loved this woman to the point where in the show he goes to the ex-boyfriend Brad and he says, listen, basically, look, my wife is in love with you. So if I leave, are you going to promise to take care of her? You understand? This is how much of a good fucking guy this nigga Cooper is. You understand what I'm saying? This is how much of a good guy the husband is. He goes to the dude who his wife is in love with and says, yo, if I step away, do you promise to take care of her? And also I got kids. So the kids are going to be in your life and all this other stuff. You got to understand that. And then see, in that scene, what was interesting is it seemed like the dude, Brad, he was like, yo, I love her or whatever. But she said no to me. And he was like, I'd do anything for her, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the scene, if you notice, the dude Brad, the ex-boyfriend was telling the husband, he's like, look, man, you need to step up and do what you got to do. Basically saying, look, man, I'm not really like, it's almost was like he's saying, I'm not really sure if I want to take it to that level. And you seem like the guy that will take it to the level, meaning you seem like the more responsible out of us too. So you should be with her, kind of thing. That's what he was like, kind of putting it back on him. Right now, another thing that I wanted to point out in the show, and I thought this is very important, is there was a scene where they went to a sex party, right? Like a swingers party or whatever it is like that, where the wife Billy and the husband Cooper, they're friends, who were, in the neighborhood, and one of his friends works with him or whatever, but they were, in their neighborhood, and he, the friends came over and was like, hey, let's go to this party. We're gonna take you to this party, whatever. Right. So they take him to the party and everyone's having sex and all this other shit. And then Cooper is, kissing up on his wife, Billy, and, taking her clothes off, and everybody's staring. And then she got all nervous and she's like, oh, I don't want to do this. Right. And then so the dude Cooper, he's like, oh, but I bet you if it was your ex-boyfriend, you would have did it. Why don't you want to do it with me? And what happened is that she says, oh, but I don't want to do that with you. You're my husband. Right. And that was a very key fucking point right there, where she's basically saying, I don't want to really do all this nasty, sexy, freaky shit with you, right? I'll do that with my ex because that's how I feel about him, but I don't feel that way about you necessarily. That's basically what she was saying. She's saying, it's just like when you guys out there, you have a lot of beta male dudes is like, oh, well, if a girl is fucking around, I'll just fuck her. But if I have a wife, I don't want to, do nasty shit with my wife, that's that same shit. It's the same thing where, you have this, thought of, well, this woman's my wife, so I want her to be like this. But if I'm fucking this dirty slut, I'll just do that with her. So she's basically saying the same thing to her husband. She's like, I don't want to be freaky like that with you. I'll be freaky like that with the other guy, but I don't want to be freaky like that with you. You understand what I'm saying? And then what happened is that in that scene, the couple that brought them there, who was their friends, the lady in the couple ends up giving head to Cooper in front of his wife, Billy. You understand what I'm saying? And it was almost like he was like, fuck it, do it. Cause she done had her fun. Fucking let me get my fun and all this other shit. Right. So that also happened. And see, the thing is, at the end of the fucking show, right? At the end of the show, and before I even get to the end of the show, what I want to also point out is this, is that not only was it this woman wanted all this sexual gratification from her ex and all this other stuff, not only did she want it, the friend that took him to the swinger party, she also wanted it, and she was also a wife, right? But then this is the funny part. What happened was that some altercation happened at the swinger party. They got into a fight. The husband got into a fight with the other guy, and it was this big thing. And then the other moms in the fucking community that was supposed to be cool with them started turning on her. Now they turned on her because the lady who invited them to the party lied and said that the woman Billy, the main character Billy, invited them to the party. So as you're watching the show, you're like, wait a second, that's fucked up. Why did her friend lie and say that she invited them when it was actually the other way around? Now, the reason why the friend lied and said that the other lady invited them is because throughout the show, what they're saying is that women have to socially pretend that they're these good girls. So the lady who actually invited them to the party doesn't want her other friends to know that she's out there doing swinger type shit. So she's going to blame it on the other lady, the main character, Billy, so that she can socially be accepted by her friends. You see what I'm saying? And so what happens is, as the show's like winding down and getting near to the end, and Cooper is trying to rebuild his connection with his wife and all this other stuff, and Brad is sort of in the background, but the lady Billy said, look, I'm gonna stick with my husband, right? What happens is that the other ladies who are housewives in the same suburbs or whatever, they're talking to the main character Billy, and she's like, listen, y'all know that y'all want to also be out here fucking around just like I'm fucking around. And basically at the end of the day, it was like all of them had to admit to themselves that, yeah, that's kind of the issue. You understand? Like one of them was like, there was another guy I used to mess with that I was thinking about, but then I stopped being attracted to him because he got out of shape or whatever. But she was like, listen, if he was still as attractive as he was, you would have still been trying to fuck with him. And the other lady likes to go to swinger parties, and the other lady likes to do this, but they're all pretending that they don't want that type of lifestyle or energy. You see what I'm saying? So that was a very, a big theme of the show, is that it's saying that these women are basically living double lives. They're like, oh, I want this, nice housewife, suburb, type of existence. But then there's also a wild side to me that I want to unleash and to come out. And see, what's funny about this show is that a lot of dudes who are like beta males and guys who don't really get girls like that, or guys who have this like sort of fantasy of the perfect wife and all this other shit, they're gonna get mad at the show. Because a lot of dudes, when they be talking about, oh, a woman has a high body count and she can't pair bond and all this other craziness, and this is the type of stuff that guys will say. They'll be like, see, she was fucking all these guys and that's why she can't bond with her husband, right? But see, what happens is this is not that she can't bond with her husband. It's just basically saying that no matter what, these women want to be fucking around, right? Because even the other day I did a video about that guy, that YouTube dude, the gamer guy, who his wife cheated on him, and that woman that was his wife was a virgin when they got together, and she still cheated on him. Because no matter if she's a virgin and have a 0 body count, you understand, or she's been fucking around with a bunch of dudes, these women want to go out there and explore, get new dick, do all this other crazy shit. They want to do this. But see, what happens is that guys who are, who don't really understand this life, the guys who aren't the Brads of the world, right? The guys who are the Coopers of the world don't get this. You understand? The guys who are the Coopers of the world don't get this. You understand what I'm saying? The guys who are like her husband, they don't get this. And so what they try to do is they try to hold on to the woman. They try to cuff the women. And you know what's interesting? It was interesting because I actually read a comment. I was watching Ron Will's video. Shout out to Ron Wills. He was talking about the show, and somebody in his comment section said something, and I was like, I was like, yo, that's so observant. I didn't even catch it. But somebody in the comment section, I wish I knew his name so I could shout him out. But he said, if you notice at the beginning of the show tells you everything. So at the beginning of the show, there's a scene where the son, the kid, he's like, a little kid, whatever. He catches a butterfly in like this jar, right? And the mom comes out and she's like, oh, that's so cute, whatever. And she's like, you can't keep the butterfly in the jar. And he's like, oh, but I want to keep it here. I love it, right? And she's like, no, but you got to set it free. So then he opens the jar and then the butterfly flies out and the butterfly goes free. That scene was literally a fucking metaphor for the entire fucking show, meaning that if you love her, let her go, let her free. This is what I've been trying to tell y'all motherfuckers this for years. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all want to keep her locked in the thing, right? But she wants to be free. You understand? This is what they're trying to explain to you. And see, what's funny is that at the end of the show, they show her with the husband and everything seems all peaches and cream. And he's like, oh, I love my husband. And then the question is it enough? And then the last scene of the show, she's like, it's not enough. And it's funny because what happened was one of the friend who took her to the swinger party, she was like, oh, my husband is, trying to be like your husband now. And he doesn't want to go to swinger parties anymore. And I don't know if it's going to be enough. And do you really think it's going to be enough? And then so that prompts her to think, man, is it going to be enough? Is this enough? And she's living in her little perfect life with her perfect husband. And they're hanging out and they're watching their son at a play. And it's all perfect. And it's all nice and suburban and perfect. And then she's like, it's not enough. And in the last scene of the fucking show, even though she's with her husband, she runs off to the city to go back to her ex to get fucked. That's the last scene of the damn show, of the series, of her saying fuck me, basically, to her ex-boyfriend who she's sexually attracted to. And then her husband's at home and he calls up the Asian lady who was feeling him. And it's funny because the Asian lady is kind of like she's like in the friend zone almost, you know what I mean? Because he's just calling her, talking to her. Who knows Hopefully they have a season 2. They definitely need to have a season 2 of this shit. You understand what I'm saying? But the thing that I want you guys to understand about this show, man, is that this show has so much game in it. This is like the shit that myself, Steve, EO, K-Zaggin, 1950, Miles, we've been talking about this shit. Ron Will's talking about this shit. ARC's been talking about this shit. You understand? Like dudes who really got the game, who understand game, been talking about this shit. You understand what I'm saying? We've been talking about this. You know what I mean? So understand that the women out there are not these innocent little creatures that you think or that you expect. You understand? These women out here are sexual. They want to get it in, right? And now I know a lot of beta male dudes is gonna be tight when they see this show. They're gonna be tight, right? Because what happens is that a lot of times what happens is that these guys, they don't realize how sexual these women are. So when I hear dudes talking about, oh, well, if a girl has more than a 2 body count, if she's had sex with more than 3 guys in her life, I'm like, bro, you don't know women. You don't know women. Watch this show. You understand? They're laying it out. They're showing you. They're laying it out for you. You understand what I'm saying? And they're gonna be like, oh, well, that's because she has a high body count, so I'm gonna go get a virgin. No. Go again. Watch my video where I showed you that dude, the gamer guy, who was with his wife and she cheated on him and she was a virgin. Because see, virgins also, they will have a thing where they feel like they're missing out at a certain point. See, I think listen, y'all underestimate how sexual women are. That's the problem with a lot of guys. That's the problem. You understand? And then this is why dudes get all caught up. They don't realize that their girlfriends and wives and all that be fucking around and all this other shit. Now, again, I'm not saying that this is every woman is going to be like this, right? Because even what's interesting about the scene with Cooper and his boss, the Asian lady who was feeling him, right? Even her, if she was, let's say for sake of argument, let's say they have a season 2 and, you know, Cooper leaves his wife and he gets with the Asian lady. The Asian lady most likely at a certain point is going to start to feel like how his wife Billy is feeling right now. You understand what I'm saying? Like it just never fails in most cases. It's like, so it's one of them things where you just have to be very realistic when it comes to understanding these women. You got to be realistic because again, a lot of times when you hear women say, "Oh well, I wouldn't do that," and I'm not the type of girl that's gonna sleep with someone on the first date and blah 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 blah. That's them just talking shit. Just like in the show where the lady who brought her to the sex party pretended in front of her other friends that it wasn't her who brought her to the sex party because she had to save face. So whenever a woman is saying, "Oh, I wouldn't do that," or "I don't do that," or "I don't do this," that's her trying to save face. But the reality is that chick is a freak. You understand what I'm saying? So guys, I suggest you guys watch this show. I don't want this video to be too long, so almost damn near half an hour, but watch this fucking show if you haven't. You understand what I'm saying? I say watch it twice, goddammit. And you know, like just look at the game in the show is heavy. I love it. So that's pretty much it, man. I'll holler at y'all later. I'm out of here. Remember, the truth is inside you. Peace. I'm gone. Click the link below and get your bad boy gear. Get the t-shirts, Submissive Women Are Sexy, Binary as Fuck, and I'm God to these hoes. Click the link below to get your bad boy gear today. Now, before you go, click the link below and go to badboymembership.com. Now, badboymembership.com is a place where you go to get 45 through 90-minute audio and video dating advice tutorials every month. Listen, I know you're tired of being rejected. Go to badboymembership.com. I know you're tired of being afraid to approach women. Go to badboymembership.com. I know you're tired of not getting the women that you want. Go to badboymembership.com. Listen, I know you're tired of being alone on a Friday night. Go to badboymembership.com. Now picture this. You'll go from not getting what you want when it comes to you dealing with women to actually getting what you want, to being the guy women want to be with, women want to date, women want to have sex with. All you need to do is go to badboymembership.com, follow the steps, learn the game, implement the game, and then you will get the woman you want. Make sure you go to badboymembership.com today. Click the link below.